Newports. I missed like the third and the fourth round because I was smoking cigarettes. I was just talking shit. I wasn't even scoring that fight, man. I was just fucking with y'all.
Yeah, because I watched the fight this.
Hold up, Mr. Bashir is talking. 1 second, guys. Mr. Bashir.
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah, we're live with Umar and Chris. I'm not too sure if you can hear them, but
yeah, I can hear them.
Oh, you can hear them. Okay, yeah. So what's your take on the fight, man?
Eubank Rose.
Yeah.
I think that it was overhyped, professional wrestling match. It was ugly.
Yeah.
It was ugly. It was not any boxing education, and the fight itself didn't do anything to enhance the credibility of the super middleweight division.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tit for tat, hit behind the head, wrestle, grab, no education. Rose was doing one thing to Eubank all night long, and there was no correction from the Eubank corner to do anything. Eubank had struggled to throw his right hand because Rose simply kept stepping over to the right side, taking away the right hand. And nobody in Eubank's corner did anything to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
So his father is an imbecile. His father's an imbecile, and then the son is following suit. So yeah, that's what I thought about the fight. I thought it was a non-productive fight. It was boring to me.
You said it was dumber and dumber. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, dumb and dumber. Because they never corrected what was doing. All Chris Eubank had to do was just step over and cut the ring. But he kept following Rose around all night. Rose kept stepping over to the right, going around a circle, and Eubank followed behind him like a little puppy, and the father never corrected. His father is not a trainer, right? Mm-hmm. If Eubank Jr. wants to go forward, he's going to have to tell his dad, say, look, I got to get another trainer, somebody that knows how to train boxers. Chris Eubank Sr. does not know how to train boxers. He's not a trainer. Everybody's not a trainer. And for the most part, boxers don't make good trainers. I mean, there are some who make the adjustment. Okay, I won't say that they can't do it, but I'm saying for the most part, ex-boxers are not good trainers. And such is the case with Eubank Sr. He can't train fighters. And his son is doing himself a great injustice by not bringing in a professional trainer that knows the tricks of the trade, how to overcome adversity. These guys are just trying to talk their way through boxing. Looking tough at the end of each round doesn't win rounds, Standing there looking tough and making faces, that doesn't win rounds. That doesn't get you points. So that's my take on it,
So see Eubank, do you think he's a good fighter in regard? Do you think he's got some talent? Because that wasn't a world-class performance now. That was, like you said, it was wrestling. That wasn't a world. How does Eubank get better? And another thing as well, in the middleweight division, he ain't being no Golovkin, he ain't being no Canelo, he ain't being no Jacobs, he ain't being no Charlo. At super middleweight, I don't got him beating James DeGale. I ain't got him beating Truax. I ain't got him beat Gilbert Ramirez. I haven't got him beat Benavidez. I haven't got him beat Callum Smith.
If Eubank faces Ramirez knocks him out.
That's what I'm. So where does he go? Like these are the guys in his division. He called up Caleb Truax. I don't think he could beat Caleb Truax. I think
he needs to go back to the middleweight division and try to apply his trade there. That's his best bet.
Yeah.
He doesn't look. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with him or Rose, really. I wasn't impressed with him.
No. I think it was the worst fight of the Super Series. That's what I think.
It was a very ugly fight, a very ugly performance. And like I said, they didn't do anything to enhance or promote the super middleweight division. The super middleweight division, for the most part, is not an exciting division. It's just never. The whole history of the division is not exciting to me.
So
if you check the history of the super middleweight division, going back years ago, it was never an exciting division. It's just never been exciting. I mean, off the top of your head, name me the 5 best super middleweights in history. You got 3 minutes.
5.
You can't do it.
I can't. Five. Yeah, I could do that. Of course, I could do. I can do that right now. I got Tommy. I got Tommy Hearns. No, not Tommy Hearns. I got Joe Calzaghe, Chris Eubank Jr., Chris Eubank Sr., Nigel Benn. I got James Toney, Joe Calzaghe, Carl Froch. Less than 3 minutes. There you go.
But those guys were middleweights. Those guys were middleweight start now.
No. Carl Froch stayed all his career at super middleweight, and so did Joe Calzaghe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. You bet.
Where's Andre Ward at, EJ?
Andre Ward. My bad. Andre Ward.
Andre Ward. But they got those fights. I mean, Calzaghe was a bit exciting. Carl Froch was a bit exciting. Andre Ward was a bit exciting. But there was never fights in that division that quite captured the imagination of the people, where you can go to pay-per-view and say, this is what we got.
Yeah.
This is what we got. You can't go to pay-per-view with that. I mean, there were good fights at super middleweight, but you name me the guys that can go to super that can say, all right, we're going to pay-per-view with the super middleweight division. Can't do it. Can't do it. Andre Ward at super middleweight was mediocre to me. I mean, he won some fights, but it's like the people could say, I can take it or leave it. I can take it or leave it.
Yeah. All right, Umar, Chris.
So it just wasn't that attractive.
Yeah, Umar, Chris, you want to ask Mr. Bashir some questions about Eubank? Go ahead. Umar, Chris. Okay, maybe not. Hey,
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, fine. Go ahead, Chris.
I say he had a fight with Billy Joe Saunders. He did the same thing he did with Groves. He followed him all around the way. You think he can change anything at 29 years old? Because Billy Joe Saunders kind of beat him the same way.
You hear him, Mr. Bashir? Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, you hear? Go on.
Yeah, I mean, Eubank, it's like, Howard Davis Jr. Howard Davis Jr. and I were very, very close. We got closer as his career came to an end. And by the time he had stopped boxing, he and I used to, hang out together. New York, New Jersey, we was always together. And Howard Davis Jr. said to me, he said, the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my life, not my career, in my life, the hardest thing I ever had to do was to walk into a room in my father's house early in the morning before I ran. And he said, Dad, he said, his father finally woke up and turned over and looked at him and said, what you want, Little John? That's what he used to call Little John. He said, Dad, I got to get another trainer. I got to get a trainer. And he said, his father looked at him and said, hey, son, you have to do what you have to do. He said, go ahead and run, and I'll see you later on. And his father went back to sleep. And he said that morning that he ran, he ran with a heavy heart because he said he saw the hurt in his father's eyes. He said, but that was the hardest thing I had to do in my life. To tell my father I had to get another trainer.
Oh, his father used to train him?
And I think he started working with Jimmy Glenn thereafter.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm telling you, this was Howard Davis told me. He said, he said, I had to tell my father I got to get another trainer. He said, because it wasn't working. So Chris Eubank Sr., he's got to be a man now. He's got to start looking around. His father is not a trainer. He's not a teacher. Otherwise, he would have told his son, hey, look, cut the ring off, stop following him around, cut the ring off, step outside of his front foot, step outside of his left foot where you can land your right hand. He couldn't land the right hand because if you watch the fight, you'll see Groves kept going to the right side. He kept his left foot outside of Eubank's left foot. Therefore, Eubank couldn't land clean right hands. And the right hands that he landed, they weren't flush, they weren't clean. And he kept following around the circle, round and round, never stepped over and cut the ring off. And the most amateurish trainer would see that you got to step over and cut the ring off and stop following.
He did that against Billy Joe Saunders too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he followed Billy Joe Saunders around as well.
Billy Joe Saunders will beat Chris Eubank up. He'll beat him up right now. He'll never be able to beat Billy Joe Saunders.
Yep.
Billy Joe Saunders is too resourceful for Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah,
that fight. Resourceful. He's resourceful. When he runs out of one thing to do, when he runs out of one thing to do, he goes to the suitcase and comes out with another.
Yeah.
He's very resourceful. He's very creative in the ring. And Eubank Jr. couldn't handle that. He'd be making a big mistake trying to fight Billy Joe Saunders. It was the second time that he fight Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders will do a number on him.
Yeah, I agree.
I think arrogance, like I said, arrogance combined with ignorance is going to stop him from growing. And no trainer is going to step in. No trainer, no trainer with any knowledge is going to step in with the father in the way. Father's got to back up and let the trainer do his job. But I can see his father is one of those domineering guys that's trying to live out his career, his second career through his son.
Yeah.
Talking about his son gonna be the second coming of Floyd Mayweather. He's gonna be better than Floyd Mayweather. Is the guy drinking? Is he smoking or something?
He had Floyd Mayweather Sr. as a trainer, but they fell out because of the daddy.
Huh?
He had Floyd Sr. as his trainer, but they kind of fell out when he first started.
Egos. Floyd Sr. can't train. Floyd Sr. can't train Eubank because the egos is going to come in. Yeah. Floyd Sr. is an egotistic person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Eubank is an egotistic person. And the son is an egotistic person. So that has a remedy for disaster right there from the beginning. You can't get a word in edgewise with Floyd Mayweather Sr. because he thinks that he's God's gift to man. He thinks that he's the holy grail of boxing trainers. In reality, he hasn't done nothing. The only thing he's done is his son. His son grew up boxing. His uncles and his uncle boxing is in Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s blood. But outside of Floyd Mayweather Jr., what has Floyd Sr. done?
Prince Naseem Hamid said
he's an egotistic monster.
Hey, listen. Go ahead, Mr. Dio. Finish your sentence. Go ahead.
I'm done.
All right. Naseem Hamid, post-fight said Eubank Jr. should retire because he can't cut it at the highest level. And he's only gonna get hurt. What's your take on him retiring?
No, I think he's too young to retire, but unless he gets a competent trainer that he can respect.
He's 28.
I would never try to train him. Huh?
He's 28. That's not that young.
28?
Yeah, he's 28.
Nah, he's 29. I thought he was 29.
29.
Yeah.
He's 29?
Yeah.
29 is not a death sentence. 29 is very young for a boxer.
But you think he said, yeah, but
29 is very, very young for a boxer. I mean, you look at Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer turned pro at 29, 30 years old. Ray Mercer turned 29, 30 years old. He turned pro.
He's a good amateur, though. Like, you better no amateur. No amateur.
Eubank didn't have no amateur career?
His amateur was in Vegas with Mike McCallum and Eubank Sr. But he didn't, Floyd Sr., but he didn't do anything. I think he won a golden, I think he won some sort of medal, but nothing major in America.
No, I wouldn't tell him to retire, but unless he makes changes to his career, he's got to be his own man now. He's got to stand up and say, "Hey, Dad, you got to move out of the way." His father can't train boxers. His father may have knowledge of sport, but having knowledge is one thing. Having an application is a second thing. You can't have one without the other to be a successful trainer. You've got to have the knowledge and the application. You can't have one without the other. It's sort of like the components that makes up the human anatomy. You know the component. Do you realize? Do anybody here realize the components that make up the human anatomy? That makes us a person. Do you know the components that makes that up? Anybody?
I think of blood and like tissue. That's as much as that. Bone. Yeah.
The best description is gases, liquids, and solids. Gases, liquids, and solids. Those are the three components that makes up the human anatomy. If you subtract one of those components, then the other two just don't do you no good. You're dead. You're dead. You understand? So you got to have gases, you got to have liquids, and you got to have solids. You cannot be a human person. You cannot go through life without the three of those components working together. If you subtract one of them, the other two of them won't do good. You're dead. You're gone. You're out of here. So it is with boxing. You can't have knowledge without having application, and you can't have application without having knowledge. The two of them are components that have to work together in order for you to be a successful boxer and a successful teacher. And that's what's missing from the sport today. The people in the sport does not have those components. Somebody might have knowledge, but they don't have application. Somebody might have application, but don't have the knowledge. You understand? And then when you have the people in the sport with these egotistic components, I mean, I've never seen a time like today. It's more all about trainers now. I'm going back to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. You never saw trainers vying for airtime, you know, all up in the mic, all on the internet, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And, you know, you see comparison in it. Who would you like to be your trainer? Floyd Mayweather Jr. or this person or that person, that. And they don't even have the great trainers. They don't know why, because the people don't have knowledge of the great trainers. They have the trainers, you know, that they know, like Emmanuel Stewart, Emmanuel Dundee, you know, Chris Dundee, Custom Model. But there were trainers that came along before those guys that were good trainers, but they never vied for airtime. They never tried to get all up in the newspaper and make the show all about him. It's the fighter that's making the trainer. It's the fighters that make the trainer. It's the fighters that bring the trainers across the line. You know, but trainers now, they want to vie, you know, this and that, I'm the greatest trainer, blah, 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 blah. You just a great talker. The fighters are the ones that's doing it. And until Eubank and guys that's in the same position as Eubank, until they sit back and say, you know what, I've got to get me a professional trainer. I've got to get a knowledgeable trainer that can show me where to go in the sport. And Britain is full of boxers like that. I sit back and I watch. Britain has a lot of talent. I think Britain has become the mecca of boxing, as I see it right now. Not America. America used to be the mecca of boxing, but I think Britain is the mecca of boxing now. I think the talent is coming out of the British pool. There's a lot of talent there, but they don't have the teachers to bring them across the line. That's what's going to make them falter. They don't have teachers. They don't have knowledgeable teachers. They have a lot of flash in the pan boxers, you know. They have a lot of flash in the pan so-called trainers. But I'm watching the mistakes that they're making, you know, even at the highest level, you know. But I think that Britain is the mecca of boxing now, not America. Yeah, America got so, you know, mediocre, this, that, and that. But I don't think America is no longer the mecca of boxing. I don't think so.
Well, if people want to get better, they usually go to America. That's the proving ground. And Eubank went to America, but he was saying he didn't need.
I think that Americans are arrogant and narrow-minded to a degree. I think that they need to go to Britain now.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that Britain is coming forth with some great talent in every division. They're coming forth with great talent.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I gotta disagree with that.
Okay. Why?
I mean, in England, I don't think they have very many good fighters. Like, I'm just being honest. I don't rate 9 out of 10 of their fighters over there. I think are trash.
Okay. All right.
I'm not trying to like go crazy on it, but I'm just saying I like they get champions like what's my man that he was a champion that he beat Orlando Cruz and won that bullcrap belt. Like a lot of those guys I just don't rate, like Jamie McDonald and
Terry Flanagan.
Yeah, Terry Flanagan. Like these guys win these paper titles. Like I don't think they're talented. I think they're food for most fighters.
Let's come to America. What do we got in America?
Fighters?
We got yeah. What do we got?
Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, the Charlo brothers, Deontay Wilder. Well, I can't sit here and name them all. Andre Ward just retired, but you know who we got. I don't need to go through all of them. Terrence Bud Crawford. I think our talent pool is far superior to anywhere in the world. To be honest,
I think okay. We said, but what I said a minute ago was that Britain has become the talent pool now. They got fighters that's under those guys, young guys that's coming in Britain that could prove to be good fighters. That could prove. You know, it relies on their tutelage, how they're being trained. But I don't think that the talent pool is so thin. I think that there's let me put it like this here. Let me rephrase it. The potential of Britain becoming the mecca of boxing is that close. If America stops to sneeze, Britain will surpass it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That sentence right there, I can 100% agree with that.
Well, I don't know the amateurs coming up on either country, to be quite honest. The amateurs and the young fighters, I don't know all of them, so I can't really speak on that. But I don't think Britain surpasses America in anything, to be quite honest. I just don't think they have a talent pool. And first of all, their demographics over there are all fucked up. They got 3%, I think 2% black people in the country, and it's mostly Caucasians. I just don't see them being able to. I just don't see it.
Fair enough.
As far as promotion is concerned, you just put 90,000 people in the city.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no, I'm not talking about promotion. Eddie Hearn promotes his ass off. He could sell ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves. I agree. But I was just talking about the fighters.
I don't care if it's black, white, brown, or yellow.
Yeah, the sell.
They put asses in the seats, 90,000 people. I mean, walking into that auditorium was deafening. I said, God, man, and I've been in boxing a long time, but man, walking in there and see 90,000 people.
Oh, you was in? Yeah,
and the roar, it was so, the roar, the excitement of the people, it was shaking the seats, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, wow, when can we do this in America, you know?
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was playing football, like that type of atmosphere. That was pretty ridiculous because we ain't getting that for boxing over here.
What is the thing, Mr. Bashir? You've been you were with Vladimir in other fights, and their stadium, but the enthusiasm of the UK fans is different, right?
Yeah, UK fans are different. They're exciting, and they're excited about boxing. Americans aren't that excited about boxing anymore.
Okay, there you go.
They're not that excited about boxing. The Britain fans are excited. The British fans come to wherever their fighters go. If they go to Germany, they go to Spain. I've been all over. The British people shows up to support their fighters. Americans don't do that.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't do that.
No, we don't.
Planes. These people get on planes. They book hotels, and they there the whole week of the fight.
Yeah.
You know, and that's to me, that's beautiful, man. When you see the people come across the sea, and like when Ricky Hatton fought Floyd, you see how many British people came to that fight?
Yeah, the whole of Manchester came for that one. The whole of Manchester.
I mean, and then when David Hay fought Vladimir Klitschko in Germany, did you see how many British people came to that fight?
Yeah.
That's why I say Britain is the mecca of boxing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
especially as far as promotions are concerned.
Well, yeah. I agree with that.
I looked around, man, at the Vladimir Klitschko David Hay fight. It was so many British people there. I thought, well, we in Britain, but we's in Germany. You know?
They didn't come out. What about Tyson Fury? They come out. They didn't. Not many come out to support Tyson Fury, right? Not that many.
No, there's a lot of people. No. A lot of British people came there for Tyson Fury. They come out to support, but not as many as they came for David Heck.
No, yeah.
Not as and not as many that came for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. That's right.
As far as promotions is concerned, as far as getting money, I can understand AJ said, look, I ain't gotta come to America to make my money. I can sit right here and make money.
Yeah.
You know, I can make money right here. I can make money sitting on my porch because the British people are going to support.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about the British people, if they like you, they're going to get behind you.
Mm-hmm.
White, black, brown, and yellow. If they like you, they're going to get behind you.
Now, see, that I agree with. I agree that Anthony Joshua don't need to go nowhere, because why would he if he can sell all those seats? I agree with that. But I just hate that those hypocrites from over there who used to shit on Andre Ward for not coming to fight Carl Froch, never leaving Oakland, but now they're okay with Anthony Joshua staying over there. Like nah, you can't have it both ways.
That's a good point.
Well, you know, you look at the latest here. Roy Jones never came to fight Eubank, never fought Nigel Benn, John Collins, Darius Mekushevsky. He never went over there to fight them.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't come to fight them.
It's true.
Those are fights that's going to come back to haunt his history.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the fights that people wanted to see, but he was so afraid of getting robbed or getting jobbed over there. Well, guess what? Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali went back and forth to Britain like it was around the corner.
Yeah, they did.
Ray Robinson would go over there and take his home, take his barbers, take his women, take his shoe shine boys. He took everybody over there.
Yeah.
Not one time, but a few times.
Yeah.
Who did Ali fight? Carl Mildenberger, Brian London.
Yeah.
Who else?
Ali, yeah.
Henry
Cooper. Yeah.
Who else?
So what's the other guy?
Jorgen Blin.
Yeah.
He was going back and forth to Britain. You understand? In Europe, he was going back and forth over there like it was around the corner.
Yeah.
So who is Floyd Mayweather or Roy Jones to say, I'm a world champion, but you fight your whole career in one place? If you're the world champion, the world wants to see you. Ali and Robinson took those chances. They took those chances. They said, look, I ain't backing down from no motherfucker. Come on, I'm the champ. I'll fight you with.
But if that's the criticism, fair. That's the criticism, fair enough, especially for Roy Jones. But I want that same energy from everybody about Anthony Joshua. If he don't ever leave England, I want that same energy towards him, because I'm tired of people coddling that dude. They coddle him like he's a damn newborn baby.
I think that Anthony Joshua needs to come out of Britain to establish his legitimacy. You know, I think that he's legit myself.
Yeah.
But I think to establish it in the minds of all the people, I think he needs to come to the States at least one time and crash somebody and say, grab somebody legit. You know, I don't know that Deontay is going to get past this guy Ortiz.
Yeah, that's right. But Ortiz old though. He old in the inactivity, man. Hey,
Mr. Bashir, Ortiz was in high school when you was in high school. He's old, man. He ain't beating nobody no more.
Nah. Mr. Bashir was answering my point though. About his old Ortiz. Go ahead, Mr. Bashir.
I think that the fight itself is a crapshoot for Deontay. It's a crapshoot.
What's that mean? What?
Deontay, on paper, Deontay should win this fight.
Yeah.
But I think it's a crapshoot. I think that Ortiz is a wounded lion. He knows that he's aged and old, you know. What did he say, 35?
Something like that, yeah.
They say that, but I think he's about 50. But I'm just being honest.
Okay. You know, a lot of African fighters, a lot of Cuban fighters, you can't tell how old they are because they bring their birth certificates. You know, I'm here in South Africa right this minute, and a lot of people here in South Africa don't have birth certificates. Shit. You don't know. You go down to Ghana, Africa, Nigeria, people don't have birth certificates. You just got to go with what they tell you.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to go with what they tell you. But I think that Ortiz is a live underdog and he can cause problems. You know, I think Deontay should win that fight, but again, Ortiz is a live underdog, and he can cause problems.
Yeah.
If he lands something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he lands something, he can cause some problems.
You have to see.
You know?
You see the Brandon Rios fight? You see the Brandon Rios fight?
I saw some of it.
Man, he needs to retire, man. He needs to retire.
Yeah, he needs to retire. The guy can't even talk.
No. And
they're
making excuses for it. Making excuses. He said fight stopped too early.
No, the guy might have some brain problems. Do you hear how he talks?
Yeah, it's bad. He's just slurring all the time now. It's really bad.
Yeah.
He had it from the Mahal Mike. He started getting it from that trilogy they had though, or whatever. Started getting it from them. You know what I mean? Then, like you said, he gets hit to the head too many times. But the trainer said, "Oh, the referee might have stopped it too early." They said, Mikey, but that what's his name, Robert Garcia. He said, but he was gonna throw the towel anyway. Brandon's done, man. Like that, man. That was horrible, man. I knew he was gonna get knocked out. You see the robbery with David Alexander?
Yes.
Give us your take on that one.
I think that he clearly won the fight, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that they're trying to line Ortiz up for another big payday before they cash in on him.
Yeah, Brandon.
They're gonna cash in on him.
Yeah,
because Ortiz has done his out, but you know they want. He still can draw the Mexican dollar.
Yeah, he can.
And they're trying to save him for one big payday and then cash out. But Devin Alexander should have got the decision. He should have got the decision.
Yeah, well, one of the worst scorecards I've ever had. But there was so much going on, it kind of got put under the shadow. But it was one of the worst scorecards, man. Bad. Man, in America, man, it's bad, man.
Yeah, it goes on all the time in America.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is get to one of them judges and give them an envelope, and you can get it with about practically anything you want.
And the judges can't be prosecuted as well. They should be prosecuted for that, man. That's something.
Yeah, they should be. It's been going on for years, but the reason that it still goes on is because the fans don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
The fans don't do nothing about it. Just like the police in America shoot people all the time. And they're going to continue to shoot people because the people won't join hands and do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, they won't do nothing about it. As long as you don't do nothing about it, the shit going to keep going on. When somebody steps up and says, listen, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. You do it again, we're going to take it to the streets. We're going to start going to the rooftops. And like the days of the Panthers, you know, going back to 50s and 60s, jokers go to the rooftop and they start shooting the police cars right through the window. They say, "Oh, innocent cop got killed that night." Say, "Hey man, you had a blue uniform on, so this is a war. Kill us, we're gonna kill you." That will stop it. That will stop it. And so that you can look at any situation where injustices are happening. The only thing that can stop it is the people. You know what I'm saying? Is the people. When you start dealing the hand that they're dealing to you, then they'll stop it. Just like in America, the police kill people all of the time. And then the state pays out the lawsuits. You always hear about so-and-so got $3 million from the state. So-and-so got $15 million from the state because the police unjustifiably killed somebody. But when they start taking that money and say, look, hold on, the state is not going to pay this no more. Let the Patrolman Benevolent Association pay, and then you'll stop that. They'll stop shooting people because it's taking money out of their pocket. But as long as the state paying, they can't be affected. But when you take money from the Patrolman Benevolent Association, then they'll stop doing it because they say, look, man, you kill somebody, they're going to take our money. You know? So same thing with judging and boxing. When you have people saying, okay, y'all want to cheat people like that, we're not going to watch boxing anymore. We're going to boycott boxing. They'll stop that shit. They'll stop it because you'll start hurting their pockets.
Yeah. That's the way to hurt people.
I've seen boxers, good boxers over the years, that walk away from boxing because they get job once, twice, 3 times. Pernell Whitaker, look how many times he got job.
That's why he got on cocaine, man.
Huh?
That's why he started taking cocaine.
Oh man, he went there for a traffic ticket one time. And you know how you go through the machine. You got to empty your pocket and put it in so they can go through the check machine. And he came in and emptied his pocket, took his keys out, took his wallet out, took a couple packs of cocaine, and threw it in the bowl that goes to the machine. And then when he saw it, he tried to get it back. The police said, "What is this, man? Yo, man, you got cocaine coming in the courthouse." They locked him up right on the spot.
Yeah, well, boy.
So, yeah, he was a great boxer. But he got jobbed a couple of times. He got jobbed in the Ramirez fight. He got jobbed in the Julio Cesar Chavez fight. You know, he got jobbed, man. And that's frustrating. When a guy go out there throwing fisticuffs and doing all that training, and then you can't get the decision. The Chavez fight would have clearly beat Chavez, and they robbed him.
Yeah. I was talking about it this earlier on today. Yeah, man. And that in itself is funny. Going back to listen, Brandon Rios needs to quit. I think Eubank should retire just for the fact that I don't think he can compete in the middleweight division and win anything, and in the super middleweight division. So I tout this hangout. I think he should retire. You know, I think he should retire just for the sake of you can't win anything. Like it's not like Usyk. It's not like Usyk. Usyk's a world beater. You know, he's you can see he's a world class athlete. But they probably give him the wrong strategy. That's something different. Eubank, yeah, if you give him the right strategy, he might have some success. But I don't trust it though. I don't trust it because there's a lot of gaps in his games, and he didn't.
It looked to me like Usyk should win this tournament. But having said that, he looked like he didn't have a strategy for the Rios fight.
Yeah, there you go.
It looked like he was minus a strategy. His corner was minus a strategy because he took a beating in that fight.
That's right.
He won the fight, but he took some hard shots. Yeah. And this guy that he's getting ready to fight now, his punching power is a grade up from Breeder's power.
I said the other day that I think ever since you left his camp, he looks like dog shit.
Yeah, well, you know that's the choice they made. That's the choice they made. You know, he said that he didn't like the chaos between me and the assistant trainer. He said the assistant trainer would set up a program for him, and then I would come into camp and train him. I said, well, goddamn, I'm the trainer. I thought I was the one supposed to train him.
Yeah. I
mean, the assistant trainer is 34 years old, 33 years old. I'm fucking 67 years old. What the fuck was I supposed to do? I'm supposed to follow my own thought, my own mind. Yeah. I'm the trainer. He's the assistant trainer. So I'll set the program up. I know what's best for you.
Is that the guy? That's the guy he has in the corner with him now, getting punched up.
Yes. And he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a clue as to how this thing is done on the top level because he's too young, too inexperienced.
Usyk must like him, innit? He liked him over you. That's why he stayed in there. Probably.
Well, you know, I mean, I've seen that before, you know. I mean, Chris Bird had his mother and father in the corner with him, you know.
Yeah, and his wife was the manager, yeah.
So you gotta, you know, fighters do things to make themselves comfortable, but that's not always the best avenue for them to take. You know, so that's why he dismissed me, you know. I think it was more than that. I think it was more behind it, but that was his reasoning. You know, publicly that was his reasoning. You know, he said that, you know, it was too much controversy, so he had to let me go, you know. So I said, okay, it's cool. But ever since then, when he fought the Golaki fight to win the world title, he went 12 rounds and barely got a scratch on him.
Yeah, he did. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
The scores was 119, 110.
Mismatch, yeah.
117, 117, 111. 117, 111. He went through a fight. He outboxed this guy, beat him up, and barely got a scratch. I looked at Usyk after the Breeders' fight. It looked like he had been into a lot of battle, a lot of turmoil. Did you see his face?
Yeah, I did see it after. It was messed up, man.
Did you see the body punches that Breeders was hitting him with?
Yeah. And that's why that makes that fight interesting in the finals. Because boy, If he stand there and take some shots from that dude, there, it was interesting.
No, he can't take those kind of shots from Garcia.
I think he gonna fight the same way. That trainer gonna send him out there to get knocked out, bro.
Well, then you got the fact that Usyk really doesn't have a knowledgeable guy in his corner, and then in the other corner you got Abel Sanchez, a very experienced trainer.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, in many cases, that's what makes the difference in a fight.
Yeah.
The mindset in the corner.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm preparing for a fight in the opposition, I always take into consideration who is the trainer in that corner. I want to know who the trainer is so I can prepare my strategy around what I believe that the strategy of that corner is going to be.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know the people in the corner. I always ask who's training them. Who's training? I want to know who's training them. Because in most cases, I know how a trainer thinks. I'll observe how a trainer thinks. And I can just about tell what the trainer's going to do or how he's going to train the guy, what he's going to tell him to do in the corner. You know, that's my prescription for winning these fights. The Glowacki fight was a simple rule to beat him, you know. Simple rule, you know. One that I won't even expound on the air. I won't even expound on it.
Yeah.
But I knew what I had to do to overcome Glowacki, and I did it where he couldn't get hurt. And you look at the fight, Usyk came through the fight, he could have did it 15 rounds if he wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how good, that's how well conditioned he was. You know, that's how well conditioned he was. That's how, you know, people, they lose focus on what the name of the sport is. The name of the sport is boxing. Not slugging, not punching, not hooking, boxing. Boxing 101. Boxing is the rule. Learn how to get your jabs in and work your other punches off the jabs without getting hurt. But in the fight, the Breeders' fight, that fight was very close to me. You know, that fight was very, very close. And it could have gone either way. You couldn't argue with the Breeders' fight regardless of who won. If they said Breeders' won, nobody could argue that.
No, they couldn't. No.
It was that close.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that the Garcia fight is going to be interesting too. But it's just going to be a guy with heavy hands. It's going to be a guy that has heavy, heavy hands. You know, Garcia. He's very patient, he's very professional, and he's got heavy hands, heavier than Breeders. So we have to wait and see.
Yeah. Mr. Bashir, man, I'm gonna leave you though, but Bashir, man, I appreciate you coming over. Like you guys want to say, actually, no, they might want to say now. I want to ask you a question actually before I go. Now, or Chris or Umar, you want to ask Mr. Bashir a question before he bounces?
No, not go.
Okay, Mr. Bashir, man, we're gonna have to catch up in the week. I think they're fighting next week. I think Callum Smith's fighting Jurgen Bremer, so we're gonna catch up on that one.
Who?
Jurgen Bremer versus Callum Smith to see who fights to see who fights Jules Groves. So
right. So that's a week apart.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Next week they're fighting.
Yeah, that's next week. I'm gonna catch up on that one. So we're gonna get.
Yeah, I've got one of my guys fighting here in South Africa Friday night for the South African Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm anxious to get. That's gonna be a tough fight because
what's his name?
This guy.
What's his name?
Ruan is Ruan RUANN Visser VISSER. He boxes here Friday night for the South African side. This is first real big test, you know.
Okay, that's good. That's good for you, and that's good. How old is he?
And,
How old is he?
28, 27.
Okay. But it's a big test to see how you're gonna come. Heavyweight, you know, heavyweight they blossom late anyway, you know.
Yeah. I mean, this kid walking off the street, you know, he's 15-1-1 with 15 knockouts. So he's a big, strong guy, and I'm gonna put him in the test. You know, A lot of people here in South Africa saying that he's not ready for that yet because he didn't have an amateur career, and that the champion is tough and this and that. But I told the kid and his father, I said, this is the kid's first test, and if he can't beat this guy, he can't go into the rankings. We can't go into the rankings. We got to beat this guy. We got to get the South African title before we can go on.
Yeah, that's right. Domestic. Yeah, you have to start domestic, man. You just come out.
Yeah, you got to. Because a lot of great guys out of South Africa, Corey Sanders.
Yeah.
It's another guy.
What's his name again? You talking about you talking about the White Buffalo, Francois Botha.
Yeah. Botha. Corey Sanders. Who else? There's a couple.
Henry Akawande.
Kelly Kanosi.
Yeah.
Kelly Kanosi and Jerry Cosia.
Yeah.
It's a lot of guys that came out of here that won the heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
So I can't see why he can't be any different.
Yeah, that's right.
He can't be any different. You just gotta be you gotta roll the dice sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta roll the dice,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Brother Eubank, I think that he needs to do some soul searching. He needs to sit back and do some soul searching, put some ice pack on his head, and get a massage or something and sit back and think about what he wants to do. The first move that I would make is go talk to my father and say, look, Dad, you got to sit your ass down, get out the way, let me get a trainer here. So there's no strategy.
Yeah.
Because his father's not a trainer. I don't see it. His father is not a trainer. Does anybody on the show disagree with me?
I did. Yeah, I agree with you because them punches he was throwing, he looked like he looked like a drunk guy fighting on the street.
No disagreement.
Yeah, he was rolling the dice.
Mm-hmm.
He was throwing punches like somebody in a street fight or something.
Mm-hmm.
Can anybody count how many jabs was thrown in the fight?
He ain't throw no jab. I ain't see him throw in the Billy Joe Saunders fight. He looked worse than that.
Yo, what's his name? In the chat, they're asking, is it too late to learn fundamentals, Mr. Bashir?
No, not at 28, 29. No, it's not too late to learn fundamentals.
But Mr. Bashir, he won the fight, though, Mr. Bashir. Do you know that?
He was drunk. He was drinking before the fight.
No, he wasn't drinking. No, he said I thought the fight was close. I thought I won the fight. So because he thought he won the fight. He thought he won the fight.
Well, let me ask you this here. Do you think he won the fight?
Hell no. I gave him one. But Mr. Bashir,
Chris, do you think he won the fight, Chris?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all. I thought he got knocked down and the referee didn't call the knockdown.
He got knocked down twice.
Right. Because he was on that rope, that bottom rope, right?
Yeah.
The rope has held him up.
Yeah.
Who else is on the show? Does anybody else think that Eubank won the fight?
Yeah, Umar does. Umar does. Umar does.
Do you think Chris Eubank won the fight?
Nah, ain't no way in hell.
No, he lost the fight by a wide margin because, like you said, Chris, this guy looked like he was drunk throwing them punches.
Mm-hmm.
One time he threw a hook in his head, looked like he was looking at the audience.
Yeah.
I said, where is he trying to do here?
Yeah.
This is the second time, Mr. Bashir. Every time he fights a class level fighter, he throws punches like that. Every time, like when he fighting bums, he's knocking them out. But when he steps up in class, he looks like this every time. This is the second time.
Goodness gracious, that's sad. That's sad because there was no kind of expertise. That's why when you asked me when the show first came on, when you first called me, I said, look, these guys look like they just came out of the water or something, man.
Yeah, the fight was terrible. That fight was terrible.
It was terrible. It was terrible. And I didn't see no expertise. When I look at a fight, I'm sitting back, I'm going to see some class jabs, some class feinting, some class fast, slip and roll your shoulder and come back with counter punches. I didn't see none of that. It was hitting in the back of the head. It was grappling and wrestling and punching him in the neck. I said, what the world is here?
When I knew he was gonna lose the fight, Mr. Bashir, when they in the the pre-show they was interviewing his dad, Eubank Senior. They asked him what was the strategy. He said we was going to outwill him. They ain't have no. He just said we're going to outwill him. That's all he said.
He said he's going to outwill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, what the hell?
Now, dude, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That he's got to get another trainer. We're going to outwill him. That was the strategy.
Yeah.
That was the strategy. We're going to outwill him.
That's what he said in the pre-show when they sat down and interviewed him before the fight started.
Good God, we're going to outwill him. I've never heard of a strategy like that. We're going to outwill him.
Yeah.
Me either. I totally said, what kind of shit is that?
That shows you why he was fighting. Yeah. That shows you why he fighting big loopy hooks. We gonna outwit him. We gonna land one of these hooks out here. We gonna take him out. Oh man.
Well, that didn't happen.
Nope, no sir.
What is Plan B if you cannot outwill an opponent?
Question right there.
Chris.
Yes, sir.
What do you do if you cannot outwill the opponent?
I was waiting for him to answer something else. Like, that's all you gonna say.
What's Plan B? It's got to be Plan B.
Well, he said we're gonna outwill him, and he was banking on Groves getting tired in the later rounds. That's what he said before the fight started when they interviewed him in that pre-show.
And then Eubank Jr. could load up on them balls that he be throwing. You see, he's throwing punches from one part of London to another part of London. That's how he throws his punches.
Yeah, when he fought Billy Joe Saunders, he looked like a video game when he was throwing punches at Billy Joe Saunders. I'm like, what the hell kind of punches is that?
Yeah, he was throwing his punches from his hip yesterday. It was pretty ridiculous the way he was swinging. Like home runs. He was like a home run swing.
Billy Joe was just slapping him around.
Yeah.
Billy Joe was just slapping him around.
I thought he won that fight, though. I thought he beat Billy Joe Saunders. I may be the only person. I thought he won
you're the only person.
Nah, I think Beats agrees with me.
I think he blew the fight for the last 3 rounds of that fight.
Yeah.
Billy Joe just out-hustled him.
Yeah.
And you notice something else? You never hear Chris Eubank say anything about Billy Joe Saunders. I want him back. I want to do that again. We need to fight again. You know what I mean? You don't say nothing about Billy Joe.
No, they did straight away. They tried to get a rematch, but they messed.
Well, from what I've seen, Billy Joe last 2 fights, if he fight Billy Joe now, Billy Joe might knock Eubanks out.
Yeah, the Eubanks are messing around.
Yes.
The Eubanks are messing Frank Warren around in the rematch. They were messing them around. Hey, Mr. Bashir, let me ask you this question. Eubanks was supposed to fight Golovkin. How you think that fight would have happened?
Triple G would have knocked him out.
What did Mr. Bashir think? That's what I want to know.
Eubank fight.
Eubank was supposed to fight Golovkin, right?
He get knocked out.
Yeah.
Because Eubank would hit Golovkin with them bombs.
Yeah.
And Golovkin would look at him and whisper in his ear and say, "Is that all you got?"
Yep.
Because you're gonna need more.
Yep.
You're gonna need more. I'm telling you, this guy Golovkin is no Marvin Hagler by a mile, by a landslide. He's no Marvin Hagler. But having said that, he has a neck, he has a chin, he has a heart, and he's got dynamite in both hands. And if you can't shake him, if you can't hurt him, he's coming forward.
Yeah.
And if you run out of gas, that's your ass. So I don't think Eubank can beat Golovkin.
I don't think he hit hard enough. I don't think he hit hard enough to get Triple G's respect.
Triple G is a wolf. You understand? You got to come in there with a boulder and you got to hit this dude on top of the head and try to knock him out. Because if you can't knock him out, chances are you're not going to win the fight. No. Because he's coming forward. And he's coming forward for boulders with both hands. He's just a tough leather neck guy. He's just tough. Yeah, he's not a good boxer. He's not a good strategist. I disagree with the set strategies Abel Sanchez has set for him in the last 2-3 fights. But he's just tough. You know, I mean, Canelo, if he had sat down on his punches and boxed a little more, he might have got him. But Canelo said, listen, I'm not taking the kind of chance. I'm going to hit and go. You know, if you can catch me on the move, great. But if that's what you would have to do.
What about Canelo and Eubanks? He can't beat Canelo either, can he?
No, he can't beat Canelo.
Can't be no one,
Canelo's too young, too willing, too strong. He beats Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank is not showing me nothing. He's out there throwing bolo punches. Yeah, I can count the jabs on one hand that he threw in the fight last night.
I didn't even see him throw a jab, to be honest with
you. If he did, it was like a spur of the moment thing, like stay away from me jab, you know. But there was no intentful jabs. I didn't see him. Everything he did was winging. He threw some uppercuts, you know. Like you said, they tried to outwill him. They tried to rush him. And for him to say that he thought he won the fight, you know, you asked the proper question. Was he drinking before the fight? You know? He had to be drinking thinking he won the fight.
The dad knew he won. The dad said we definitely lost, but we'll come back again. But
Eubanks Jr. know he lost the fight. You saw his face after the fight, EJ. He kind of knew he lost the fight.
No, I'm telling you what he said. What I think is what he said. He said he thought he won the fight. It was close. I thought I won it. And dad goes, no, we lost. The dad said, no, we lost. And we'll try and come back again. Congratulations to George Grove. They get credit. But you know what I mean? His dad got to take. See the thing is, that's how he's gonna be better than. He's gonna be better than Junior. He's gonna be better than Chris, than Mayweather. He's gonna be better than all of them. His dad. That's the problem. Naseem Hamed said, man, listen, this guy needs to sit down. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't talk all that stuff and blink the hype. That's why everyone came to watch the fight. Everyone came to watch this fight here, and you got all the attention you wanted, and on the biggest stage possible. You look like a complete novice. It's like when AJ fought Vladimir. You know, AJ fought Vladimir, and it was the test for AJ. If AJ would have failed that test, right, you know, he would have got the same criticism.
Not saying that thing he gonna get hurt. He's just worried about him getting hurt.
I just keep hearing some people saying AJ don't have no stamina. AJ can't take a punch. I said many moons ago that if AJ has the ring generalship, the tenacity, the ability to get out of trouble once he's in trouble, that he would be the second coming of George Foreman. I'm still saying that. I'm still saying that. The AJ is in the he's in the making, but he's the second coming of George Foreman. I predict that he's the second coming of George Foreman. That he's gonna walk through the heavyweight division and he's gonna crack everybody that gets in his way. I predict that.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think there's nothing wrong with his chin. I don't think there's nothing wrong with his heart. He got hit by a heavyweight. The last thing to go, people say, well, he got knocked down from a 21-year-old man, you know. No, but people that don't know boxing, that the last thing to go on a boxer is his punching power.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter about the age. Doesn't matter, you know. The last thing to go on the boxer is his punching power. Vladimir caught him and cracked him. AJ went down like an old building, but he got up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vladimir normally sleeps guys with those punches.
Huh?
Vladimir normally sleeps people with those punches.
Well, if you look at the fight, Vladimir knocked AJ's hand down with the left hand. He threw the left hand out like he's throwing a jab, but he knocked AJ's left hand down and he came right on the top of him with a right hand on the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Just look back on the fight, you'll see him knock the hand down. It's a move that's practiced by many of the Ukrainian boxers. They'll knock down your left hand with their lead hand, with their left hand, and right behind it is the right hand.
That's what Eubank should have did to George Groves. That's what Eubank should have did to George Groves. That's the punch. Emmanuel Stewart does that as well. I see him do it on the pads with Vladimir. You knock it away, you come over with your lead hand, come right over with your right. You know, if anything, a left hook would do that.
Yeah, because it's not enough time to respond. It's just a clip. It's a 1-2, real quick 1-2.
Yeah.
AJ went down for that punch, and he was in bad trouble in that round. Bad trouble. But he showed mental resolve, he showed relaxation and composure, and he came back to knock out Vladimir Klitschko. I applaud that.
Yeah.
I applaud that. So I don't. People be saying, "Well, I don't. He's too this, he's too that. His chin ain't no good." Blah, blah, blah. No, he showed a lot of mental resolve in that fight because it was so easy for him to panic in that fight. When you get hit by Vladimir Klitschko, you've been hit. So it was easy for AJ to get up and lose control, panic, and come out the next round with doubt in mind that I'm going to get knocked out, I'm going to get beaten here. But he found a way. He found mental resolve. He went back to boxing. He gathered himself. He got his strength together and came back to get the KO. I don't know what people are talking about there. You know, this guy, he said, nobody has been Ortiz, Wilder. They haven't been through that yet.
Mm-hmm.
They have Wilder, Parker. None of them has been through that yet. You know, none of them have been through that yet, where they had to get up and they were hurt when they got up. You know, so they didn't have to go through that yet, but AJ has gone through it in his young career with only 19 fights at that time. He went through it, he got up, and he had resolve, and he came back to get the knockout. So in my mind, I think AJ is the #1 heavyweight in the world right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Until somebody knocks him off that throne.
Yeah. Mr. Bashir, you got a comment in the chat. What's it? Realistic Boxers asked Mr. Shear what he would change if he was a Eubank trainer. Well, if you was in the corner, what would you change if you was the trainer?
The first thing I tell him is to humble himself.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna happen.
To humble himself. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You can't learn until you humble yourself. When you can take advice and respect somebody to teach you. So first thing I tell him to humble himself. Second thing I work on is balance. His balance is shady. Every time he throws punches, he's in a knot tied up himself. His balance is terrible, you know. He doesn't have ring diplomacy. He just wants to, like they said, try to outwill somebody, out-tough somebody. So the first thing I would do is just tell him to, you know, change his attitude, humble himself. If he humbles himself, he can be taught. But if he doesn't humble himself, he's not going to be taught. He's not going to be taught. And he thinks that he's going to out-tough people. There's always somebody tougher than him, you know. So always somebody tougher than him. So that's the first thing. And go down to the. Do they have dollar stores in Britain?
What kind of stores?
Dollar. In America, they have a lot of stores that go. You know, Chris, you tell them what the dollar store is.
Yeah, Dollar Tree, dollar store. Everything in the store costs $1.
Yeah. We got a pound. It's called a pound. Yeah, we have that pound shop. Oh. It's called a pound shop.
Okay. Yeah. Tell them to go down to the dollar store, the pound shop, and buy themselves a jab. Tell them a box of jabs.
A box of jabs?
Yes.
Oh, because he didn't use a box of jabs. That was a good one.
Yeah. So get him a couple of boxes of jabs, and then we can start with something because he don't have a jab. Okay. And in boxing, you know, it's like Uno Numero. You got to have a jab. He didn't show that last night. Everything he did was he was lunging. Almost every punch he was lunging and pulling these wild punches. And as a result, when he wound up? He wound it up on the Rose armpit.
Yeah.
With Rose arm around his neck. I mean, I've got novice boxers back home that box better than them. I've got kids, novice boxers that can box better than those guys showed last night. Did you see the cut on his eye?
Yeah. Hey, the corner work. Let's talk about that. The incompetence in the corner work. And Eubanks didn't believe in the corner. He kept using the towel and trying to do the thing. You know? Madness, man. Eubank
but he bled practically the whole fight.
Yeah. But
no problem cut, man.
The corner was incompetent, man. That was an incompetent cornerman, man. That's lead.
No,
Go ahead.
Why? Why? Because they didn't have no professionals in there.
Well, that's Lee Selby's manager, who's the cuts man.
Oh God.
So they went cheap. They went cheap. I think they went cheap on sparring. I think they went cheap on the cuts man that cost them in the fight. In a major when Jules Groves corner, they had Jimmy Tibbs. He's experienced. He's been all the greats of Eubank. He's been with Ben. We've been with Ben. He's been Ben and other big punchers actually. And
when you're trying to win a valuable tournament such as the Muhammad Ali Trophy, you don't cut corners.
Yeah.
You bring in the competent help and you pay them for their services.
That's right.
I need a competent cut man. I need a competent second. And I need a competent trainer because we go into battle. And when you go into battle in such a valuable tournament, you have got to bring in the big guns and pay them. Pay them. Going back, Tommy Parks trained Tracy Patterson, Floyd Patterson's son. Tommy Parks trained him. He trained Ray Mercer. He trained Charles Murray. He trained a number of good fighters. And every time I had anything close to a big fight, I would bring in Tommy Parks. And one that I wanted Tommy Parks, and Tommy worked at everywhere I looked in the hotel, Tommy was there. And he was knocking on my door. So I said, yeah. He said, who is he? He said, well, it's Tommy Parks. I said, yeah, Tommy, what's up? It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, it's Tommy Parks. I said, yeah, what's happening? He said, could you open the door? I don't want to talk through the door. So I said, open the door and said, come in. Tommy Parks came in and says, what are you going to do about the money? I said, what money? He said, the money that you owe me for fixing the cuts, working in the corner. I said, I'm going to send you a check. He said, no. I need my money tonight. I said, Tommy, you're a millionaire. What's the problem? I said, it's only a couple $100. He said, I didn't become a millionaire by waiting for my money. I need my money tonight. He was serious. I went and got that money. I went to the promoter and got the money to pay him. Because he taught me a lesson. He said, no, you get paid. He said, I might die tonight. And you won't give the money to my family. So give me my money tonight. I work tonight. I want to be paid tonight.
That's right.
Yeah. I learned that right from one of the best trainers that ever lived, Tommy Parks. He was a smart trainer, clever old guy. You know what I'm saying? Clever. Tommy Parks told me, he said, listen, I got one lung in my body. I don't know when I'm going to kick out of here. Give me my money. I want my money tonight. And what leave me? I said, all right, Tommy. I said, all right, we go get your money, man. I had to laugh at it, but it was serious,
Yeah.
So you don't cut corners when you got a serious fight. You're trying to save money. You're trying to make money. The only way you can make money is to bring in the big guns. You bring in the best trainers and stuff,
Yeah. You in your corner, you had Stitch Duran, one of the best. He's one of the foremost best cutsmen in the world of boxing. He was telling me in the hotel of the before your big fight, how to do with when someone's got a swelling, how to deal with it. He goes, when you put a swelling, you don't rub it backwards and forwards. You put pressure in it where the area is, and eventually it should go down. Now, Eubank, Conor Ben had an incompetent cutsman. He had a swelling in one fight, and what he did in that fight, the cutsman. What a cutsman did, the cutsman moved the swelling backwards and forwards, and the whole swelling engulfed the whole eye. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was incredible, and I was like, whoa, because I remember what Stitch Duran told me, and I was like, whoa, and you see the swelling because you only put pressure in the area. The guy smooth kept rubbing it backwards and forward and spread the swelling over the whole man's face. Incompetence, man.
Well, it's incompetent. But you can't gamble when you have a big tournament like that. Then you bring in the best people. And I'm sure there was other cutmen there in Britain that they could have used, but for the fact they didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna get better? You think he can get better with being cheap? Like he don't want to pay people, so how you gonna get better?
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good question. You know, how are you going to get better? How can you get better?
Yeah.
Like I said, the young man, it happened to him. He had a big cut on his eye. You see that big cut?
Yeah.
Well, the headbutt did that, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Chris said it was a cut, but I think it was when Eubank kept jumping in with his head. That's what I think it was. Yeah.
I think it was caused by a punch, though.
No, I don't think so, Chris. You see what happened? Yeah, it was a slight.
No, I think they both.
Yeah, it was slight, Chris.
I think they both.
Yeah, because that's what I think it was. Yeah, and then the punch landed after because he kept diving in with his head, and then like Mr. Bashir, because he couldn't judge range, and he kept jumping in, lunging in, and that's what caused it. Go ahead, Mr.
I thought one of them times that he was going to get flatlined jumping in there. Eubank's jumping in face first like that.
I told you, I got novice boxers back home that box better than either one of them. Eubank looked like he was playing a lottery. Let me I think that I hit something. Maybe I hit the big number, you know. Let me just throw this punch. He was throwing punches from clear across London. Kept throwing punches from clear across London. And how could you do that in a tournament of that stature? How could you do that? It was just ridiculous. So yeah, I wasn't big on that fight. I could care less. But I doubt if I ever watched that boxing match again in my life.
No. I agree, man.
I look back on fights that happened 30, 40 years ago, and I look back on them often. Larry Holmes, Carl Williams, you know, Fraser versus, Ken Norton versus Dwayne Bobbitt, you know, different fights I watch for different reasons because I look for different things in those fights. I just go back to them over, you know, Razor Ruddock versus Mike Tyson. I can go back and watch those fights as though it would happen yesterday. But what can I get out of watching Rose and Eubank?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Does anybody hear what Senior was saying to his son in the corner?
No.
Did they have no microphone in the corner?
No, they did. Well, I didn't buy it. I
was streaming. I couldn't. There was a lot of stuff going on. I couldn't hear. I'm gonna watch it again today, though.
I watched it. He said you need to get close and use your jab, but he didn't tell him how. He didn't say step across. He didn't say knock down his jab and come over with your 1-2. I don't think they work on that. He's just clueless, man. They're clueless, man.
Nothing's going to happen. He loses another fight, he'll be relegated to journeyman status, good gatekeeper status.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost 2 big fights already.
That's the second fight he lost, right?
Yeah.
The second name opponent, second loss.
He's a
bad loss too.
Yeah, he's gonna be the B side now. He's the B side of the negotiation table now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that he's relegated to stay in that position. I don't think that he's going to improve. I can't see him improving as long as his father's in the corner. The father is not a trainer. He's not a teacher. He's not that. He was a good fighter, but he's not. He don't have it as a trainer. He don't have it.
Yeah.
You know, as a trainer, he does not have it. You know, he doesn't prove anything to me as a trainer. You know, and his attitude doesn't help the boxer any neither. You know, you'd be surprised how much of an effect that a trainer's stature has on the boxer. Because he's trying to have that same arrogance attitude that his father has, and it's hurting him. It's hurting him. And the father and him don't see the changes, so what you think going to happen? They ain't going nowhere. All right, you guys have a good night, man. What time is it there? What time is it where you got?
I'm in the UK, so it's 7:41.
It's 2:41 p.m. over here.
It's 9:42 here.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, they're having a big problem down here. Summertime, they're having a big problem with the black mamba. Did you know the black mamba is the only snake that'll follow a human being?
Really?
Yeah. The black mamba is a snake that will follow a human being. They can sense when a human being is injured. They can sense when you're bleeding. They will hunt you. They will hunt you. They will follow you. They will find out where your ass is going. And you try to take a nap, you become their dinner.
Oh shit! What they eat you whole?
Well, I don't think they have the ability to eat you whole, but they get the pecking and taking a little bite here, a little bite there. They get it down.
Ah man, you don't know. Man. So what's
one of the guys the other day caught one and brought one into the house in a jar. You know, he put them in a jar and poked some holes in the top of the jar where they could breathe.
Yeah.
And I kept walking up to the jar. It was a young one. But I kept coming up to the jar with my fingers, you know, and he would rear back and peck the jar like he was trying to bite, like he was trying to squirt some venom in me. I kept going up to the jar. Every time I got to the jar, it would rear up and it would just imagine he'd pull his head back. As soon as my hand got by the jar, he would lurch forward like he was squirting vinegar, like he was trying to bite to get his venom in me. You could see the stuff dripping in the jar. And I said, look at this thing. This thing's it couldn't have been more than 2-3 weeks old. But they said they got enough venom, even at 2 or 3 weeks old, to really make an adult sick and possibly kill you.
Oh, you done me and Mr. Bashir. I'm staying right here. Good luck, Mr. Bashir. Hope there ain't one chasing you right now.
Chris, allow, man. I see you guys now.
Okay.
Look, the thing you do in South Africa is check your shoes in the morning. You put towels by the bottom of the door. And before you sit on the toilet, you gotta look in the toilet because they go into the toilets, they come up. They're in the water in the toilet, they can come up through the toilet. So you can't walk in the dark and just sit down in the toilet because you know you got a problem. You gotta look down that toilet to make sure ain't nothing in there. Because they travel through the drainage, they come up in the toilets.
That's horror movie stuff.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's making me scared, man. Scaring me right now.
It's just living in South Africa. The people here have an extreme fear of the member. Extreme fear. So you know I'm fearful. 2 o'clock in the morning, I go to bed. I turn the light on, flashlights on. I'll be looking down at everything. Shit. Yeah, I have flashlights. I'll be looking, man. Because, man, you sit down and one thing bites you, you got problems, man.
Yeah, because where the hospital at? You know what I mean?
Shit. Yeah. You know, they got a couple of different kinds of snakes here, but the member is the one. Here on the farm that I'm staying on, they got a bunch of Jack Russells. You know what the Jack Russell is?
Yeah. We got them over here. Yeah.
They're some vicious little dogs.
Yeah,
They don't play.
No, they're not.
I'm talking about Jack Russell Terriers.
No. Jack Russell.
They don't listen. They don't make friends easy either. They don't play.
Nah, if they bite on you, if they bite on you, you have to cut them off. If they bite on you, right, and the owner doesn't tell you to let off, it won't let go. You'd have to kill it, and even when you kill it, its jaws are still locked. They have lockjaw, so when it bites on you, it won't let go unless the owner tells it to.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Well, I made really good friends with him, but it wasn't easy. You know, I gave up a lot of chicken to make friends with these dogs. I gave a lot of chicken. I gave a lot of chicken up, and now I'm friends with them. But when they find the black member on this farm, it's about 7 of them. When they find a black member on this farm, they tear them to pieces. Okay. Because the member is trying to watch it. Because the member, what happens is the member is so tired of looking, because they surround them. And they growl, they take a bite, and this member turn until they get tired. When they get tired, they go in for the kill.
Okay.
One of them will grab him by the head where he can't bite, rip his head off, and that's it. They become dinner. Them Jack Russells, they don't play. They're not no joke. They play. And the black member, there's a lot of other snakes here other than the black member. I mean, they're just all over the place. You know, I don't go by trees. I don't fucking go in the dark. I don't do none of that. Shit. They be coming to come outside and talk. I said, come inside and talk. We don't have to talk outside. Why we got to talk outside by the grass? We don't know what's in the grass. They told me, no, they don't come this close to that. I said, well, the night when I come out there, that's the night they probably come close to the house. So come inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys see you later, man.
All right, take care.
No snake stories.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Wow, man, Mr. Bashir does shit me up, man. I ain't gonna shook me right up. That did. That shook me right up, man. All right, we got now we got other people gonna listen to this. This guy called Mickey Elliott. All right, let me hear from unless now I want to say anything. Now you want to say anything
About what?
Oh, what we talking about here? I think Eubank should retire.
I don't know about retire, man. I think it's going a little overboard. I mean, the thing is, there's always a place for fighters that even aren't necessarily elite, you know. So I don't mind seeing him continue.
Who you going to beat in that middleweight or super middleweight, like at the top echelon?
At the top, like at the tippy top. I mean, it's hard to favor him really over any of those guys or over any of the guys that you would mention, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think you know the idea that like he can still make middleweight. I think that's bullshit. I don't think he can make middleweight.
What about Trino Johnson? Trino Johnson. How you see that fact then?
Who? Trino Johnson and who?
Eubank Jr.
And Eubank.
Man, Trino Johnson beat the shit out of Eubank Jr.
I think you beat the shit out. What about Curtis Stevenson?
Man, Curtis Stevens is a homosexual, man.
I think Eubank would beat Stevens.
I think Eubank should beat Curtis Stevenson, but Curtis Stevenson can punch now.
He should be able to, but Curtis Stevenson got some chances in that fight, though.
Eubank proved his
He's got chance. He's always got a punch of chance, but he sucks.
Both of them suck, though.
Eubank Jr. don't suck. That's in you and EJ's world. I don't live in you and EJ's world. I live in my world.
Yeah, but what world has he done anything in?
He was IBO champ. IBO champ, man. Legend, man.
Now finish your sentence. Go ahead now.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I think he would beat Stevens. Steven, I think his chin is. I don't think his chin is bad. Eubank. I think his chin is good, actually. I think it got proven yesterday with the punches that he was taking from Groves. Because I think, you know, Groves hits a lot of people with those shots over and over again. The way that he was hitting Eubank with them, they're not standing anymore. Especially the way that Eubank was all off balance and catching every bit of the power. So,
yeah, he's got a hell of a chin, man.
Yeah, his chin is for sure. It's proven.
EJ's a hater.
I don't think he's garbage though. Like I said yesterday, I said it several times. I wouldn't mind seeing him versus James DeGale. I think that's a good crossroads.
I told you about Zab Judah when he went against Paulie. I said Zab should have retired before that fight because when he got hit by Danny hit him so hard. Like when he came to the press conference with Paulie, he was walking in the opposite direction, didn't know where he was going.
I don't remember that, EJ. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, he came to the press conference, he walked right past his seat, and they go, Zab, it's over here. He goes, oh, yeah. But he go all day, man. I'm telling you, man. Serious. Concussion, man. Shit,
he's making his comeback, though.
Zab shouldn't have never lost to Paulie, bro, because if he'd have fought Paulie when in his prime, he'd have beat the dog shit out of Paulie.
Exactly. But why did he lose to him? Because he got beat up by Danny. Danny smashed him up, bro.
Yeah, then he fucked him up for 9 straight rounds before Zab landed anything significant.
That was shit. Got beat up.
I remember we watched that fight with the fat nigga from Milwaukee. He was crying on there. He was over there crying. Like, yo, man. Yo, ain't room for Zab, man. Yo, ain't room for Zab, man. What's going on, man? Fuck cornball.
All right. We're going to listen to some UK people. So you guys can mute and do your thing. Let's listen to some other people. First, we're going to listen to Ben Dougherty.
Bro, did we ever even talk about the goddamn Danny Garcia fight? What we listen to these freaking Caucasians for?
Shut up, man. Mute yourself. We started.
So I'm here for I was having a little talk about last night. Something that there's been a lot of talk about it already. There's a lot of anticipation about the fight. I just want to give you my take on it. I think there are a couple of points that some people have been talking about. Andy Jackson, how you doing? And yeah, give us a post-mortem. Jonathan Carver. Fuck, I forgot to actually tag Jonathan Carver in it, didn't I? Julie Iveson, how you doing? I'm guessing your name is Julie Iveson, Julie, and not Iveson Julie, even though you appear on Facebook as that. Good to see you here. Sorry, sorry, Jonathan, after all that, I forgot to tag you in it. Ronnie, yes, how you doing? Listen, guys, first of all, I would like to... I'm good, Andy. Good, mate. George Hilliard, how are you? Okay, first things first. Yeah, next time. Let's get it out of the way. I picked Eubank. I fancied Eubank ahead of time, and that's what I said. Anybody asked my opinion, quite a few people did, for my prediction on it. I said I fancied Eubank. I did stress that it wasn't, I wasn't chucking the family silver on it, and it wasn't a really strong conviction. How you doing, Wes? But actually, Kai, how you doing? But yeah, I fancied Eubank, and I certainly wasn't the only one. I remember Spencer Fear on fancied Eubank. John Doyle, how you doing, my man? I'm going to stay on the line, John. I want to talk about some of the things you've said too. You made some very interesting points. Tony Paul, how you doing? Good to see you, champ. Yes, I picked Eubank. Yeah, a few other people did as well of my acquaintances. I know Spencer Fear and fancied Eubank to win. Darren Hamilton fancied Eubank to win. Daniel, how you doing? I got it wrong, to be honest with you. I did say, I had a conversation with Darren Hamilton about it, and he said, you know what I mean, sometimes it's not the technical thing, sometimes you get a gut feeling, or feeling in your bones regarding the outcome of fight, and this was it. It was like the kind of X Factor kind of thing that I thought Eubank perhaps possessed. Eddie Blair, how you doing? And I just thought Eubank, I felt Groves was possibly a little bit on the slide. He's far from shot, but I thought Groves was perhaps not the fighter he was of the first fight a few years ago, back in 2013, arguably, and that was a factor in my thinking. And I just thought Eubank, I thought he was going to produce the performance that he threatened to, that got people so enthused about his potential and all the rest of it. Fucked up there, Ben. Yeah. Well, like I say, Danny. Yeah. Well, as I will make it clear, Danny, I didn't really fuck up. I said I fancied Eubank. I said technically, I thought Groves had most of the advantages, obviously experience-wise, but I fancied Eubank. It was a gut feeling. What we need to remember is I so seldom get it wrong, because if I did, then I'd get these people, cunts climbing out their pram every week, wouldn't I? Every weekend, people would be going, yeah, you got it wrong. So obviously, it shows you how rarely that happens, the fact that there's such a rare window of opportunity to say, Ben, you got it wrong. But yeah, I got it wrong. Like I said, I didn't stick my neck out big time. I just simply said that I fancied Eubank. Yeah. Those of you who said that Groves, you couldn't understand why people were picking Eubank, you couldn't understand why he became a betting favourite, like George Groves himself said, and you said that this will be a little bit man and boy kind of context. George is a big, experienced elite super middleweight, and he will boss this fight. You were right. You were absolutely right. Mickey Elliott nailed it really well in his prediction.
Nobody gives a fuck about what this white boy's talking about, man.
Hugely impressed with Mickey's ability to to call a fight and break it down really unemotionally and technically, and he absolutely nailed it. So what am I going to say? I don't think there was a point that my mate, how you doing, Brian G? Good to see you, mate. Tom, how you doing? There was a point that but Groves didn't look great, to be honest. No, you're right, Danny. That's the point I'd make. My mate John Doyle made a point yesterday, which he tagged me in, and I shared it in my own kind of status to throw out for people's delectation. And what I said, Ross Parker, did. What I said was. No, what John said was, you get all these clueless interviewers these days, don't do remotely penetrating conversations with the people they're interviewing. They've got very, very sketchy boxing knowledge, and they tend to regurgitate what they heard. And he saw one person in particular, I don't know who it was, talking to Ronnie Davies before the fight, saying, do you anticipate any difficulties? And apparently Ronnie Davies said no. He said, and then the person said, what about Groves' jab? And what John said was, fuck me, everybody keeps going about all these bandwagon jumpers talking about Groves' jab. John's take on it was, fuck me, he's a professional boxer. If he hasn't got a good job, he's in the wrong profession. It's the first shot you learn how to throw. So why shouldn't an elite fighter have a good jab? I know they don't all, and I know it's relative. But John Doyle was just simply saying that people do regurgitate stuff that they've heard just in an effort to sound clever and knowledgeable and so on, which is absolutely true. Then some of you jumped on and said, no, the jab is going to be a massive factor in this fight, and not every fighter has got a great jab, and Groves does have to possess a fine jab and all the rest of it. So what I would say on that is, I don't think the jab was the decisive factor particularly. Obviously, it was a factor. Of course it was. Jabbing is a factor in any fight. But I think, as I said before, I think it was Groves. I don't like the term ring generalship, but I think it applies as snugly as anything else does to the situation that unfolded last night. I think with Groves, he does have, it was about ring generalship. He tied Junior up and locked him up inside. Junior was trying to get them kind of multiple uppercuts he likes to throw with the same hand, with the rear hand and right hand in his case. And Groves tied him up, you know, like a pretzel inside and span him around, mugged him off. Groves controlled the range better. Eubank couldn't seem to close the range. I mean, see, in the first round, I was Neil Hibbert. How you doing? In the first round, I was upbeat about feet and anticipation was affected. Exactly, John. You know, it wasn't really a story of the jab. If you want to see, you know, Ken Buchanan in his vintage, you see what controlling a fight your jab's all about, or even Joe Calzaghe versus Evan Teixeira when he broke his left hand, you know, for an example of a guy controlling the fight with a southpaw jab and hooking off that lead jab. Whereas this was, you know, I saw the first round and I thought actually Eubank could actually come out with a decent game plan. Mickey Elliott, how you doing? Just talking about you. You may want to look into changing the Hellraiser brand to Nostradamus Promotions, Mickey. I would vouch for that at this point, okay? Yeah, I saw the first round and I saw Junior standing off and I saw them both faking, trying to draw the lead. And I thought Junior has actually come out with a decent game plan. That was my initial feeling. It might have come out with a decent game plan, but I thought he wasn't running at George gung-ho. And he looked like he was trying to draw the lead, and they were trying to establish the jabs, and it might be a bit of a battle of the jabs for the first couple of rounds, but that wasn't the case. Now, some of you feel that he just tasted a bit of power early on, and he got hurt, but he felt George's power in the first couple of rounds, so he stood off and was a little bit cowed. I don't know about that, to be honest with you, because the thing is, the other thing is, you've got to bear in mind, I'm watching it in the pub, and there's certain things I think you miss watching it in the pub, even though it's a big screen, you know, but obviously people who were there live and people who had good seats will have another take on it. But no, ultimately, Eubank was woefully short of ideas. When he obviously had no chance about boxing Groves and sending a distance, that wasn't going to work, and that was pretty obvious from Holly Kenzie, how you doing? That was pretty obvious from early doors in the fight. But when Eubank had the most success was when he did actually put it on him. People talk about Groves' size or being a bigger super middleweight and trying to imply that he was going to be a stronger guy. But to be honest, when Eubank ran at George and let his hands go, that's when he had the most success. Groves did look a bit leery in the headlights at that point very occasionally. And Eubank did, you know, look like that was his best bet to rough George up. His best offensive, consistent offensive plan was that jumping lead hook. But like you say, Eubank didn't seem to have any idea how to set him up. He didn't seem to be able to find his range, you know, or anything like that. Lee Purdy, how you doing? And he couldn't really get his shots off. And, you know, some of the time when Eubank got a little more tired and a little bit more desperate as the rounds, as he probably sensed the fact the rounds were going into the bank for George Groves, and I'll talk about the scoring in the course of this broadcast as well. But I think Eubank, some of the wild lunges in which George, you know, easily, you know, mugged him off, made him miss, and span him round a few times. You have to say to yourself, this is not a world-class fighter. And I do get where some of your aggressive responses to Junior's kind of failing to show a great performance comes from. And a lot of you are saying, well, you know, where was his perception that he's this great fighter and he's going to eclipse his old man's achievements and surpass him, whatever. You were saying this is not even a world-class fighter. I agree. I don't think you can say that level that was not an entry-level world-class performance in terms of finesse, versatility. And this comes down to the coach, and a lot of you made the point that Eubank Senior says that Junior doesn't have a trainer because he has an internal navigation system, you know, and that's what he was trying to say. He said nobody trains him, you know, we're not here to train him, we're here to work with him, we're here to assist him, but he does his own thing. Whereas I think we've seen certainly
talk so much shit
where that will get you when you're up against an elite fighter who does have a game plan, who does have experience, who can box, and he can show you plan A, plan B, plan C, and show you different sides and different looks to his game, you know. So I think certainly a lot of you have said, what will Eubank do from now? Will he go back down to middleweight? How would you rate, you know, people have asked me, if he does go back down to middleweight, how do I think he'd get on with the elite there, like Golovkin and Canelo, Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe, and quite honestly, I think they all beat him. I think Eubank is in a bit of a conundrum at this point when you think, where does he go from here? My feeling, as I listed earlier in that kind of 10 thoughts about last night thing, is that he's not going to be the special one, you know, that he doesn't have that kind of stardust around him anymore. I think that was denuded from him last night in a way that the Billy Joe Saunders fight didn't effectively do, because people said, well, as well as the fact that some people thought he could have won if he started earlier, which I think is an annoying, lazy kind of cliche, a bit like the Groves' jab and a bit like the one that annoys my man John Benny when people say Groves schooled him last night, you know. But I think some lustre is gone now because I think Eubank is more harshly judged for this because he didn't deliver. It is nearly 4 years down the line, and it's something he was perceived to have improved a lot, and he's not the relative green novice he was when he fought Billy Joe. Consequently, I think that Eubank's career is in a little bit of an impasse now. There's certainly money fights out there for him, and I know that they will go back to the drawing board and come back to the plan. But some of you are saying he needs to get rid of his dad or keep the dad at arm's length at least in terms of the massive influence he has on a kid's career. He needs to get himself a trainer who can teach him and take him to the next level technically in a way that Ronnie Davies doesn't appear to be doing. And somebody else said he should also get with a credible promoter. The thing is, I think he was with a credible promoter. Sid Rezac doing. I think he was. I think the Sauerland's doing a great job. WBSS is a great format, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the promotional arrangement. If they it annoys me when people call up when you're in the middle of a live thread. That was Rockin' Robin trying to call there, Rockin' Robin Deacon, as you know. But what I should do is turn the Wi-Fi off before I do this, because that way you can still go live. But sorry, not turn the Wi-Fi off. Turn the airplane mode on. Then people can't call you, because otherwise people call in the middle of these things. What else? I'll take some comments in a minute. I'm just trying to get the bulk of what I wanted to say unloaded first. Like I said, I think George Groves was a bit flattered by that performance last night as well. I'm not knocking George. He is a good fighter. He's always been a good fighter. I remember George since the amateur days, when I used to chat to him occasionally back when he fought John Ryder in the ABAs and times like that. I used to speak to him sometimes when I see him. Now, with George, I don't think, that either of them. Some people have said, this is the funny thing, you see. When John Doyle said this is a bit like Christie versus Kayla, it's an interesting thing because I know some of you are saying that Gilberto Mendoza, I think, is one of the other middleweight champions, that he would beat Groves and he would have beat Eubank last night. And there's another guy whose name escapes me even. There's another super middleweight champion out there that, as well, where someone was opining that he's the future of the super middleweight division. This is the trouble. You might, before you laugh it out of hand, my mate John Doyle said this was basically a Christie Kayla final eliminator. Cheers, Robin. No worries. I'll call you as soon as I'm off this, Rob. All right. This was a final eliminator of the British title, which technically held by Callum Smith, somebody suggested. Even though George happens to be WBA super middleweight champion and Eubank was the IBO super middleweight champion, although George has inherited that strap as a result of last night, however much it means to him or doesn't. But the thing is, you could look at it that way, that it was like a British title eliminator, and we'll find out, as John said, whether regardless of what the title tagging you want to put on it, or is obviously attached to last night's fight, obviously was attached to it. John said maybe we'll find out who the best super middleweight in Britain is. Obviously if Callum Smith comes through his semi-final against Jürgen Bremer. So it is that simple. We don't know who the best. You can talk about world champions all you want, but it's like Kevin Kelly said in the net before he fought Nez. You British guys, you all fight each other and call yourself world champions. There is a lot of truth in that. That is what we're dealing with. We're trying to find out in the course of this who is the best super middleweight in Britain. It's something called the World Super Series, and that's if Jürgen Bremer doesn't upset the apple cart in its entirety. So that's where we're at. But I'd just like to say, I did get it wrong last night. My gut feeling was for Eubank. I thought, a bit like Julian McGowan said, he said all the technical advantages favour Groves, and yet I still think Eubank will get his hand held probably on points, which is what I was saying, because there's a certain kind of golden child aura around him, and perhaps he'll rise to the occasion and show something more than he's yet shown. But what he actually shown was there was a degree of being exposed on the big stage. Like Mickey Elliott said, if you've got a guy that's not punching back like a kind of ready to be put out to graze Arthur Abraham, or a guy like Yildirim, or a nobody, with no disrespect to him, like Reynold Quinlan, then you can look devastating, because he did throw a lot of jabs down. I'd see him throw triple jabs against Quinlan and Abrahams and Yildirim, but he couldn't seem to get a jab off against George hardly, except that kind of short counter left jab he was throwing the first round, Chris Eubank Jr. But so those of you said he will be exposed, and you can't understand why there was so much confidence for Eubank and why we can't bet in favour. You were all right, and you must have your day on that. And you're entitled to your day, because he was. When someone was punching back, had a game plan, wasn't that easy to hit, kept you guessing. That he looked a lot more mortal. He looked very upright, looked stiff, he looked out of ideas. The one thing you can't fault with Chris Eubank Jr. is he's got heart and balls to burn. He's a tough kid. He holds a good shot. Some of you are saying, what's this about his chin? He hasn't proven his chin. I think he proved it to a degree last night, because George Groves can bang. And, Eubank He's a gutsy, strong kid. You know, he doesn't stop coming. He had the cut to contend with. He didn't really let it bother him. You know, so he's got heart. He's got fantastic athleticism. He's very strong and fit, and he's a gutsy. You know, he's a warrior, Eubank, no question. But technically, he was bereft last night, and those you said he would be, you know, I'll hold my hands up to you. Mickey Elliott said, in the old days, a one world title, Groves Eubank would have been a British title fight. That's exactly what it would have been. Exactly, Mickey Elliott. That's exactly what it would have been. And that is my thing. We've lost the plot a bit in boxing because we've lost that sense of scale. We've lost that real world. Is it ultimately a good or bad thing? I'm not going to make that call today. I always talk as if it's a bad thing, but I do obviously I understand the argument from the industry perspective, and even from the fans' perspective. Some fans prefer it the way it is now. You know, modern fans, the newer wave of fans prefer it the way it is now. So I do get it. I get why some people think it's good to have 4 world champions at the same weight. Sometimes you could even say 5, given the fact the IBO title was on the line last night. If you happen to believe in the IBO title, that's up to you. And even those of you who talk about the WBU as if it's a legitimate world title, and you tend to come out with that old crap old line. It was a world title when Ricky Hatton had it, so it's a world title. Was it fuck a world title when Ricky Hatton had it? My arse. It was a world title. You know, Ricky Hatton won the world title when he beat Kostya, the man. That is that. But I don't want to get into all of that. That is a debate to go on forever. What I will say is, how you doing, John Benny? Couldn't resist it, huh? Good to see you, champ. What I will say is, the more we have these tournaments where you have to fight the guys you're drawn against, the best, at least in the tournament, have to fight the best. The winners go on to meet the winners, and we crown a winner at the end. People get paid money. People in the pub talk about it. They want to see it. People go to the fights. People have press conferences, build-ups, weigh-ins, and everybody gets excited. And we get a winner at the end of it, and everybody gets money, and hopefully no one gets hurt. That is the way forward as far as I'm concerned. I think that's great, you know. Rome wasn't built in a day and the reform wasn't built in a day. Some people like to say, oh, it will never change, mate. It'll never change, because some people think fucking nothing will ever change, because they tend to be rather, you know, just lazy, negative people that must be presumably delirious with joy about the status quo. I think things can change. I think things have changed. I think things are changing. The World Boxing Super Series is a step in the right direction. We've had it in the cruiserweight and with super middleweight so far. We can go on from here. You know, we've proven it can be done. You know, the Super Six, as I keep saying, was pretty good as well. It had a few problems. It didn't finish.
Where you guys at? You guys still there? Probably bounced, man. I bet you guys probably bounced. Let me see. Oh, now it's still there. Yeah, Uma had enough. Y'all was still there, bro. Well, now you still there? Even now it's disappeared. What the heck? Got people in the chat. Oh, mate. Let me hear another one. Talk about Mickey Elliott.
Yo.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, man. That shit was drying me out, man. I was tired, knocking me out. Yeah, man. I wonder where everyone's at, man. Where everyone's at, man. Oh, boy. Listen, I think you should retire. You listen to Naseem Hamed. You hear what Naseem Hamed has to say about it? Guess not. Guess he didn't. Never mind. No. Let me hear what Naseem Hamed. What Mickey Elliott has to say. Okay. It's a bit low down, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to play that Hellraiser block. Yeah, okay, right here. Alright, I'm gonna find this and play that. 1 second, guys. Nah, it's not loud enough. It's not loud enough. All right. That's not loud enough. It's not loud enough. Where are we at? Where's the hell in the blog? for you guys then, man. Yeah, already boxing. What a night, man, for boxing, yeah. Okay, we're gonna hear Mickey Elliott take on this boxing, mate.
Welcome to the Hellraiser blog, brought to you today from my father's house in Paris. Right, the reason for a blog so soon after the last one is to recap on the Chris Eubank Jr. versus George Groves fight that we saw last night. The fight had a lot of interest in. I was very excited about it for different reasons. One of which, as you would have seen in the blogs last week, I felt it was a con job, you know, like a cash grab. You know, they built Chris Jr. up, and now was the time that they're going to fill an arena and make a load of money with it. The thing is, I mean, I was excited for it, and the event was spectacular. I mean, I watched it on TV. The lighting, the big venue, the stars are all there. It looked exciting, but the actual fight itself, for me, was disappointing. Very disappointing. I mean, mainly, unfortunately for him, mainly because of Chris Eubank Jr. was so short of the skills and talent that he needed to compete on that level. I mean, you've got to, regardless of what your affiliations are, you've got to accept now he's been stepped up twice. He's been comprehensively outboxed twice. The second fight he came into it, this supposed super engine that he's got a good engine. I don't think he's got a super engine. But BJ Saunders, for me, blew out halfway through the fight. And that's why Chris Eubank Jr. was able to get all these, you know, blistering bursts of punches off. And last night, he went in with a fit guy who just, I mean, I thought the judging was actually very generous to Chris Jr. I thought George won comfortably against him. If they boxed 100 times, I actually think George would win 100 times. I didn't see any moment in the fight where I thought, oh, this is a battle, you know, which leading up to the fight, they were sort of saying, oh, this is like the Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank of our era, or this is the, you know, the Michael Watson, Nigel Benn, or Gerald McClellan, Nigel Benn. These were big fights that got the whole country gripped. But those fights, they went up and down. You didn't know which way it was going to go, one way then the other. This wasn't. This was all one way from the start. I mean, George Groves his tactics were very good. He outboxed him at long range. As soon as Eubank came in, he grabbed him, he turned him, he went back to boxing him again, and won it very comfortably. For me, like I said, I thought he should have won more. I just found from Chris that if we'd have seen two world-class boxers, when Groves was winning those early rounds, we'd have seen Eubank engaging maybe a little bit more sophisticated tactics, like more feinting, looking more for angles. He's a strong guy, and when he actually did manage to get in close, Groves was tying him up straight away. But I would have hoped to see him work inside, get his hands free, and then let his shots go, and then maybe shift angle and go again. Instead of that, it's just repetitive. He bored his way in, got his ears boxed off on the way there. Groves would then shift and they'd go again, and you know it was pretty much one-way traffic. I guess you could take quite a positive in that Eubank was he was definitely very brave. He showed a lot of willpower and a lot of strength in there, but that's not enough at that level. And you know, you go back to another fight like that, I think you're going to find the same thing happens again, because it's not heart and determination that's lacking, but heart and determination is something that you can inspire in someone. But actual boxing skills is something that has to be learned over a long period of time and has to be taught by someone that is able to communicate those messages to the boxer. I think Chris Eubank Senior is a good coach. I've seen him work in America. I was with him, and I think he has done very well for his son. Really got him to a point where he could earn a lot of money. But I don't actually, me personally, I don't think any coach can take that fighter to that level. That's the truth of it. And you know, that's how I see it. But I think from a management point of view, to now sell Eubank Jr., you have to come with a different angle because people aren't going to buy it again. They're not going to just start, all right, he got found out twice, but the third time he was suddenly magically sort of, it won't happen. People won't buy it. Financially, it won't be viable. If they went and said, oh, now he's changed trainer, now he's changed this, we found out he was allergic to this, or whatever story they come out with, you might then get a third crack at the whip. But I think a lot of people expected a lot more from Eubank. I'm not one of them because I've already seen that he has shortcomings. I've seen his limitations. He's a lovely guy. I really like him. He's a very polite, very professional sort of attitude. I like him. But is he a world-class fighter? I don't think that he is. I think he's a good national level guy. He's above area level. But you know, they're trying to sell to you know major TV stations that has to be top of the range, and I just don't think that he is there, unfortunately. And Eubank Senior is getting a lot of stick, even though he's actually done a good job for the guy. You know, you take a guy who's maybe like a 5 out of 10, and you present him to the world as a 9.5 out of 10, and you get away with it for so long. Unfortunately, last night certainly to me, he looked a long way short of a 9.5 out of 10. It's just there was no imagination, there was no creativity. None of the things that I really notice and I really like in world-class fighters. I think, wow, what a genius! Where did he get that from? Under all that pressure, and he came out with that solution. That didn't happen. It was like a repetition going throughout the fight. And unfortunately, for them, I think it might be close to the end of the road because I can't see him doing the journeyman thing. Maybe, but when you've earned the money that he has, why are you going to, go and take fights where it's all loaded against you for less than what you would get, obviously last night, and then I'd imagine against Billy Joe. I mean, it's disappointing. It was a decent fight, but it wasn't the barn burner that we were sort of hoping for. I heard someone actually saying, "Oh, he's leaving it late again today." No, he wasn't leaving it late. He wouldn't leave anything. He was trying his hardest to get. He was going, but he was outboxed. He was outboxed comprehensively throughout, and I think he was outboxed similarly against Billy Joe Saunders. Only because Billy Joe Saunders' work rate seemed to dip alarmingly in the second half of the fight. Then Eubank suddenly seemed to have this fantastic engine, but last night he was against someone that was fit, who could go for 12 rounds, who also had the know-how how to keep Eubank working and keep nicking the rounds as he was doing. And he just got played by a more experienced, better standard boxer. That's the bottom line. That's where it is. And I remember years ago when Frank Maloney was still a man, saying to me, "Matchmake with your eyes, not your ears." And what he meant by that was when you actually see something, that's when you believe it in boxing, not when you hear it, because there's so much bullshit flying around. There's so much crap that gets exaggerated and twisted. And, you can't trust it unless you see it with your eyes. When you see it, then, and this thing with Chris Eubank, it was all talk. It was all talk. And I mean, working in boxing, you start to notice the PR strategies, the social media techniques that can be used, like sparring sessions with guys that are far lesser standard. They can look amazing. To me, what happens in the gym should stay in the gym, but you can't fault him because the guy's just gone and earned a huge sum of money, and he's done it that way. So you can't completely fault him for that. I don't think. I mean, you've got to say, okay, well, fair play to the guy. He did what.
Fair enough. It's a good point. I think B-Marsh jumped in and jumped off. Where B-Marsh at, man? I'm running everyone off every time I try to do something. People jumped off. Now you're back, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, B-Marsh jumped in?
Yeah, he jumped in for a second, then he jumped off. I don't know. Maybe busy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, go on. You want to say anything about the scene?
Honestly, like, I said about as much as can be said. Eubank looked like ass or whatever, but man, fuck it. He can continue on. There's plenty of other fighters that lose big fights. They're not elite or whatever, but they keep on continuing on. So let's see Eubank against the B tier guys. Let's see him as a gatekeeper or whatever it's got to be. I think there's still fights out there out for him. Just make them, man. Like I said, I think him versus DeGale would be an excellent crossroads fight. It makes money. It makes sense in a rankings situation, and I think it's a good fight between those two.
Yeah, I think they could still something with James DeGale, but it'd be nice if James DeGale got his belt back from Caleb Truitt, which I don't think he's gonna do.
Nah, the thing about it is DeGale looks like he's definitely on the downside of his career. So even though I don't think Eubank is as good as what DeGale once was, I think that the two of them now as they exist is a relatively intriguing matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I see that. There was this Mickey Elliott was just saying his son made an awful lot of money. He made a couple. How much mil did he make off from this? I don't like you said that DeGale fight, whether DeGale wants it.
Yeah.
Can he generate another? He can generate another big payday. But that's it.
I think him versus DeGale would generate a good payday, and then I think theoretically one last run at some sort of a belt could get him a nice final payday if he wanted to go out like that. So
yeah, I think so. But that's what I was trying to say. He ain't got many options, man.
Because the thing about boxing is boxing fans have a short memory. And by and large, so it's one of those things where you win tomorrow, and people kind of forget about yesterday.
Yeah. That's a good point. Let me hear what Spencer Fearns say real quick. Let me see what he's saying.
Yo, I'm in the hospital right now. My herniated disc started playing up, and it completely come out. So my whole body is lopsided, and I was in hospital, but. Now I've just been to triage and now I'm just waiting to see the doctor. But this is what I want to say is before I left my house, this is what I did. I thought I could drive and I said, nah, I'm gonna jump in a cab. So I've got an Uber to take to the hospital. What I want to know is this: what was Chris Eubank Jr.'s game plan in that fight? Can anybody tell me what his game plan was? Do you know what I mean? He made George Groves look like he was Sugar Ray Leonard. No disrespect, George Groves boxed a very, very intelligent and intellectual fight. Really, really smart, clever fight. But unfortunately, it seems like every time that Chris Eubank Jr. will move up in the level and meet a boxer, then he'll come second best. George Groves is absolutely right that this game was about levels. I didn't think George Groves had that kind of fight inside of him, so fair play to George Groves. And let's see what.
It's that, man. It's that, boy. I guess that's more than everyone. I think that's more or less it, man. No.
I mean, as far as that fight goes, but we onwards and upwards. Groves has to meet up against the winner of Callum Smith versus Jurgen Bremer. So I think that's an interesting fight because I think Smith and Bremer will kind of answer a certain amount of questions about each other, and it'll be interesting to see how the winner between those two looks, going into the Groves fight.
Absolutely. Oh, you got a link to the chat outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, read some of the stuff what people are saying.
Here, give me a second. I gotta pull it up.
Yeah. I started this hangout pretty early, so. But I did have Umar and Chris over. They might come back. I don't know. But after a while, man, you know what I mean? How long can you beat a dead dog?
Yeah. Well, I'm going back. Let's see. Case K said he got robbed in the De La Hoya fight too. Not sure what that was about.
It's talking about Parnay Whitaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Realistic boxing. If Eubank doesn't install a top trainer, he's currently at world level. His pay-per-view career is over as well. Coppin wanted to ask if it's too late to learn the fundamentals. I think Mr. Bashir answered that. Realistic boxing, LOL 118, 110. He's just keeping his dumb sheep Instagram following happy cretins. I'm not sure. I guess somebody scored at 118 or 110 in that fight or something. Coppin 09. Eubank stamina is overhyped as. Well, I mean, I don't know. I really think it's overhyped anymore. Maybe it was before the fight, but yeah, I mean, he gassed bad. He gassed real bad in the middle rounds. Realistic boxing, Eubank is a brawler and nothing else. Can't throw a decent jab. Joker for the dumb casuals. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's not even really a brawler. Like, there's a certain degree of skill that comes with brawling. I mean, all you gotta do is watch some of the Rios versus Garcia fight, where Rios would throw some throwaway punches, and then he'd like really lay into a couple of hard ones that actually landed clean. Realistic boxing keeps going. Ask Bashir, would he change if he was Eubank's trainer from now on? Pound shop, LOL. the dollar store thing, pound shop. Thanks, EJ. Yeah, he was thanking you. Also for the panel and the rebuild process, does Eubank go back to British level and work traditional Brit common Euro fights, or straight back into the title contention at middleweight? Well, I think I already answered that question at least. I'd say him versus the Gale makes a certain degree of sense, both from the domestic sense as well as the regional/world sense, kind of fringe contender sense. Loser leaves town, so to speak, but winner, is still a relative factor. Musa Lion says Eubank is just one of those guys that whenever he steps up in competition, he will lose. Most likely. It seems like that. Mike to 1-0. I mean, to be fair though, like if you just look at what happened the other day with Ray Beltran and Paulus Moses, like even for the people that thought that Moses won the fight, Beltran was that guy. He was that guy that could never get over the hump. He was that guy that could never really pull it off at the higher level. But the division being what it is, and titles being what they are, he was able to kind of come across a vacant title and he won it. So. Who knows? Maybe Eubank could do something of the sort as well. The only thing is Beltran, he had to take a few tough losses in order to get to that point. So it'll be a wonder if Eubank is able to respond in that same manner of I guess outwilling his own inabilities or just lack of experience as a fighter. Mike's 104 says, who can recall the fight where the cut man put a steel mask on his fighter after every round? I can't recall. Yeah, you know what? I remember that. I know I know what he was referring to. I can't remember the names either, but I do remember that they had like a straight up like a metal, like it was almost like EJ the Inswell. It's normally just a piece of metal with a little handle on it.
Yeah.
But there was one particular fight where it's like they had a straight up mask.
Yeah.
It was like and they would put it on the fighters.
Yeah, I remember that. The fight couldn't breathe and shit. Well, he kind of could breathe. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but they, just to cool off the whole face and everything. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see, realistic boxing. I mean, I think that would be like a pretty good thing to do. Like if a fighter doesn't necessarily have any particular part of his face swelling, just put that on there to kind of cool off your face between rounds, whatever. Cool you off for one, and then also any potential like little bits of swelling, because some swelling you can't necessarily see as easily with the naked eye. Maybe kind of help that along the blood flow. Let's see. Realistic boxing saying he better sharpen up quick. He's got 3 years before he naturally will start to slow down. Yeah, most likely. I mean, he definitely he's got to get on that learning.
What Eubank?
Yeah, Eubank.
Done already, man. Already. Go ahead.
Really, people up north in UK use Jack Russell to tackle rodents. It's called ratting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. That's true.
Dar S88 says, I thought Eubank would do better, but he showed he's not very good at adapting when he's been worked out, doesn't have that boxing IQ.
Nope.
But not at all. Not whatsoever, man. Definitely not. Groves looked fresher than Eubank post-fight. This is realistic boxing again. Groves looked fresher than Eubank post-fight. Eubank got his cheekbone broken, covering it up in the post-fight.
Well, I don't know if it's broken.
He was talking about in the press conference, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's broken, though, but it did definitely something wrong. Though.
Yeah, but that was it. That's it for the chat. So.
Oh, man, that's it. It was quite a few comments. Sorry I didn't get to you guys earlier on. I think Dan the Man's going to jump in. He said he's going to jump in. B Marshall's still hovering around. So
what did you think of Benavidez and I can't think of the guy's name now. Ronald Gavril.
Yeah. I saw that Miguel just jumped in. He just jumped out. I knew it was gonna be one-sided, man. How did he beat? I think I fell asleep on that fight. Who beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, he did. I mean, I thought he did a lot better than the first fight for sure.
I knew he was gonna do better because rematches. If you win a rematch, usually the momentum's going. So it's not like Israel Vasquez and Rafael Marquez sometimes, but I thought in terms of the time and everything, so Mayweather wasn't there. So Mayweather never turned up. Like if Mayweather really thought he was gonna win, he would have turned up, right? Mayweather wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I thought,
well, and the thing is, I think that first fight, like I said it a bunch of times yesterday, but like I think Benavidez started to believe his own hype, and so he went into that fight with Gavril the first time thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna knock this guy out, because like he had just knocked out Porky Medina and like people were hyped on him, like myself included. People were talking about like, oh, this kid's the future and this and that. The thing is, when that's the talk surrounding you and you're that young, he's only 21. Like I said last night, he for all intents and purposes, he still has like an adolescent mindset. You know what I mean? He's not even really fully an adult yet. So at that point, it's very easy to fall into the trap of like, yeah, I'm the shit. I don't gotta train. Fuck it. I'm not gonna train 2 hours a day. I'm gonna train for 25 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened to him in the first fight. Because yesterday he definitely looked much better prepared, fought to a better to a higher level, better game plan, sharper. Looked like he was gonna knock Gavril out. Probably in the middle rounds, but Gavril was a tough guy. He had a good chin and just a rugged fighter. So he survived the full 12, but Benavidez won it clearly, and he's gonna be a problem, man. He's a real troublesome fighter to deal with.
He's against a guy that's a good. I think it was a voluntary. I don't know if it was mandatory.
No, it wasn't mandatory.
It was. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's easy mandatory, man. That was an easy mandatory for him. I was like, okay.
Well, the first fight was, and then they rematched because the first fight was somewhat controversial. The scores.
Yeah. He can rest for the rest of the year. He can rest for the rest of the season and chill with his people. Them car. That fight went that hard, and I don't know, because like you said, he's 21. He ain't going to look for unifications, right? But when he does, Ramirez fight is the one. Him and Ramirez, man. But I don't know how that fight gonna happen. I'd be like, they gotta keep doing what they're doing, and eventually they can build that fight something. Mr. Bashir said, I didn't know on my hand 5 super middleweights, but he was surprised that I wrecked him because I know the divisions, right? But the super division, I don't know, man. I think Nigel Benn and Jeremy McLennan and Jeremy McLennan versus what's that other guy? The guy from Thingy, the other guy from the Virgin Islands.
Oh, Julian Jackson.
Yeah, I think them two matches were probably one of the greatest super.
Jackson and McClellan was that middleweight though.
No, they had a rematch at super.
The rematch was at super. I could have sworn the rematch was at middle. Also.
Yeah, the rematch was at super. Yeah.
Okay.
Them fights right there, they stick out to me as one of the greatest super middleweight fights right there. Right, almost strategy, and then also Ben and not Ben, Eubank and Watson, the second one. Definitely good.
Shit, Calzaghe and Kessler was a great fight. I really liked that fight.
That was good. Yeah, Ward and Froch was pretty good. Ward was good.
I don't know, like that. I thought Ward won that too clearly.
It's not great.
Like a great fight.
Yeah, these are not great. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Great fight. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily put that in the great category. But but he's right in terms of it hasn't got that many great fights in that division still since he's been around.
Well, I'm saying it's almost like a go-between division. It's like there haven't been too many great fighters that really like, plugged away their whole careers and really, did the damn thing in that particular division necessarily.
Roy Jones and James Toney, isn't it? Or James Toney.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Toney kind of just passed through. Jones just passed through. Calzaghe's ultimately the biggest names of his career. Like aside from Kessler, like he fought in, I guess, Lacey. He fought at light heavyweight against Jones and Hopkins. Hopkins didn't even fight in the division.
No. Or he did. Well, against Kelly Patrick, he did.
Well, it was 170. It was 170.
It was. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's see that. Benavidez is the dude. Benavidez, I'm interested to see what he does. They're gonna take the time with him.
I mean, him versus Ramirez is an intriguing fight though, because
many wants to see that.
Because the thing is, I think Ramirez can give him a lot of difficulty just with the the high pace that he sets, the high work rate and everything, and the fact that he goes to the body really nicely, and that seems to be Benavidez' kind of Achilles heel. The only thing is Ramirez doesn't have very long arms, and I think kind of like he would need to be really in and out, because I think standing and trading with Benavidez is dangerous. Like you can't do that. I don't think any fighter can stand and trade with him. He's just too strong. He's too strong, too powerful, and that's like when he gets his hands moving, actually got really quick hands. Like in combination, he'll throw some blistering combinations at you.
Yeah, I think he beats Ramirez. I think he beats Ramirez. Is pretty good.
I tend to favor him slightly, but like as time goes on, I'm gonna favor him more and more because he's just gonna get better. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully they can sort something out to get that fight happening. And you got James DeGale, Truax, and then obviously you got the rest of the guys from the World Series.
Well, and you got Andre Durrell versus Jose Uzcategui. They're going to be fighting on the Wilder versus Ortiz on the card. So.
But they got some alright guys down there. But
I think if Uzcategui wins that fight though, like him versus Benavidez is actually a really good fight and a fight that's very easily made. You know, because they're both with Heyman and everything, and I think stylistically it's a good matchup.
I tell you
a lot of firepower.
So interesting. If Jurgen Bremer beats Callum Smith, I'm expecting Jurgen Bremer to beat him though. I know. For England, we'd love to see because I think Callum Smith will beat George Groves, but I think for everyone, I don't see Callum Smith beating Jurgen Bremer in Germany or wherever.
Yeah. That's it. I think Smith versus Bremer is a relatively even fight, but the fact that it is in Germany kind of leads me to favoring Bremer.
Yeah, because I think he was complaining. Gallagher. Joe Gallagher was complaining about oh man, why is it in another country? Because they would have liked it in Liverpool. They said, nah, well, you ain't selling no tickets. Like Jurgen Bremer sells tickets. He's a former world champion. There's, you know what I mean? You want to beat him, go to his country and beat him. If Callum's that great, go and beat him because his brother went to Germany and fought Arthur Abrahams in this twice and came up short. So
yeah.
Jurgen Bremer's got the crowd and he's got everything. You know what I mean? Former world champion. So if you want to go take him in his country, man. But they were complaining they didn't want to go over. Shows me that they're not on it. You know what I mean? And Callum's gonna go over there, and he'll go to the cards, man. I ain't seen Callum stop him. Callum don't hit. They tell Callum's big and strong, but he don't hit that hard, man. Jurgen Bremer is at light heavyweight is pretty good, but at super middle, I don't know, man. His face starts to melt, man, for real. So I'm not too sure about him. I'm not too sure. Man. It starts melting, but next week we're gonna find out. The Super Series I think that's what yesterday was one of the worst fights in the Super Series, though. Out of all the fights I've seen, that was the worst one.
I wouldn't say that. I mean,
too generous now.
Yeah. It was. I thought it was relatively entertaining, even
it was,
in spite of like the lack of technique.
It was built up to be better than that, man. That fight was.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's what happens, man. Sometimes with people, they build fights up just off of the names, but not necessarily looking at what's going to happen.
All right. Any other news now?
Well, I mean, Danny Garcia got a nice knockout over Brandon Rios last night.
Yeah, he did. Brandon.
Rios was giving him a lot of trouble, though. He really was.
He wasn't hurting Mike. He wasn't hurting Danny.
Yeah, I mean, he was having him huffing and puffing a little bit there for a minute.
Yeah, maybe. When Danny put him, Danny put him.
That was a great knockout, though, man. That was a great right hand. That's nobody has done that to Rios. So I mean, at the very least, it just proves that Garcia's power is for real. If that needed to be proven.
Rios is shot. Rios was good at lightweight. Rios is shot to bits. The beating he took from Pacquiao and Bradley, I mean, it's only took away because he was good at lightweight and he couldn't make that weight 40.
Yeah. He's one of those what could have been type fighters. Had he had some actual discipline.
So. Yeah. Well, he used to pick his fights for him at lightweight. Could make that weight. So he moves up and he becomes the B side and he gets punched up. He can't believe he's on the B side as well. Brandon's just kind of like a scrubby, like Mr. Bishop said, can't hardly speak. Just there. It's terrible. All right, now Tom, I'm dropping off, mate. This is it, mate. Everyone else, they can get lost. Right now, Tom, thanks for coming over. And the rest of the people, we're going to catch up. Eubank needs to retire. I still say that, but he's not gonna. So we're probably going to see him get beat up a couple more times. Brandon Rios is not going to retire, so we're going to see him get beat up a couple of times. For the rest of the people, check out Nata TV's channel. I'm EJ Boxing Live. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.